Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has reiterated his decision not to support Atiku Abubakar's 2023 presidential bid, emphasizing that it was the South's rightful turn to produce the president. Speaking during a media chat in Abuja, Wike said his stance was based on equity, fairness and justice, which he believes should guide Nigeria's power rotation system. He maintained that supporting a southern candidate was consistent with his long-standing principles within the People's Democratic Party. Wike also addressed internal conflicts within the PDP, revealing that there was pressure to appoint former Senate President David Mark as national chairman, a move he opposed. He argued that Mark would not only have brought any meaningful change to the party, hinting at deeper disagreements that contributed to PDP struggles. The former Rivers State governor continues to be vocal about the need for reform and accountability within his party. Turning to the situation in Rivers State, Wike disclosed that President Bola Tinubu is unlikely to extend the state of emergency currently in place. According to him, the president appears to be pursuing a path towards political stability without further escalation. His comments come amid heightened tensions and legal battles over local government governance in the state. Now, Emi Feraga, still on Atiku and the crisis that rocked PDP in 2023 that PDP has not yet been able to recover from. Now, what is your position on this statement by Nyesom Wike that he refused to support Atiku because it was a turn of the South?
You see, I can marry this discussion with just the previous one.
Go ahead.
Nigeria is a very, we are faced with a lot of diversity. Religious, ethnic, and region. For us to have a proper political system that is functional, that looks acceptable to all, the forerunner of democracy in 1999 or 1998 decided to formulate a model that is befitting and acceptable to all, which they call the Southern and Northern dichotomy. Although it wasn't written, it's just a gentleman kind of agreement. Let us work with this so we won't have conflicts in our politics. Ordinarily, I would have been against such rotational presidency and all that, because to some extent, it helped to breed mediocre, in position of authority. But if it is thrown open where politicians can compete and win the support of Nigerians, I think we have people who will understand the Nigeria problem, people who will understand the plight of the people, because it will force them into reading, it will force them into, communicating with the people to actually understand the problems. So when they eventually, get there, they will know what to do and how to start. But because we live in a very, a peculiar situation where ethnicity, tribalism, religion play a very key role in elections in Nigeria. So for us to have this relationship, let us do the Southern and Northern dichotomy. That was why Obasanjo was brought from the prison in 1999 to come and contest, which he eventually won. And Atiku was from the North, who viced him to balance the Southern and Northern dichotomy. If the president is coming from the South, the vice come from the Northern dichotomy. If the president is coming from the North, the vice come from the Southern dichotomy. We have Obasanjo South, Atiku North, then later we now have Yar'Adua North, Jonathan South, then later Jonathan South, Sambo North, now Tinubu South, Shetima North. That is how it has been, just to balance this political equation for peace and harmony. 2023, late Muhammadu Buhari left from the North, so power returned back to the South. But then Atiku, who knew that Buhari was from the North, wanted to take over power from Buhari, who is from the North as well. It has created a lot of political, instability, assuming Atiku succeeded him. You would have so many ethnic groups sitting down and making press conference. Oh, they are seceding from Nigeria. You know, it's a common thing. We want to succeed. We are not part of Nigeria. You will have seen so many groups organizing themselves, particularly from the south. We want to be experiencing this kind of peace. Atiku wanted to hijack and alter that thing for his own personal political interest, his selfish interest with some of his men. Probably that was why Wike saw reason in it that power should go back to the north, although he was also fighting for his own interest, hiding under the general interest of the south. It's even better like that, where you hide your interest in the general interest. But some people want the general interest to be subsumed into their own personal interest. That is where the problem lies, that like the one of Atiku. Now power just returned to the south. We are just 2 years. You want to take the power back to the north. What happens to the people of the south? What happened to that balance, the political equation that is balanced through that mutual understanding? So every reasonable person who believes in the unity, peace of Nigeria will support that kind of idea. We want to follow that gentleman agreement. That is why it pains me that the likes of El-Rufai, who was in Arewa House 2022, shouting and screaming and talking to Arewa people, don't support the Northerner to take over. The power should remain in the south. That even when the forefathers of the Arewa people were alive, that is what they would have done to return power to the south. Suddenly, El-Rufai now believe the power should go back to the north. To tell you the level of hypocrisy, double standard of some of these politicians. So, Wike does not need to support Atiku. Even now, Atiku should step aside. When it comes to the turn of the north, you can present yourself if they accept your age.
Do you now think that Atiku, if ADC produces Atiku as its presidential flag bearer in 2027, it's going to affect the chances of ADC at clinching the presidential seat? It
will affect it in the sense that, yes, some people in the north might be happy. Some in the north may be happy because power will be returning to some of the cabal there, for them to continue to perpetrate themselves on the Nigerian resources, not necessarily for the general interest of the northern dichotomy. They will be happy. But I tell you, there's going to be a lot of agitation from the south. Ethnic groups will align, and it will create a lot of stability in our political system.
Stability or
instability in our political system. So to avoid this instability, we must stick to that gentleman agreement.
Well,
and let me also remind you.
You call it gentleman's agreement.
Yes.
It is not like it's cast in stone.
It's not cast on stone. Yes.
It's gentleman's agreement.
Yes.
So it's not binding.
It's a way of people to live together in peace and in that brotherly love.
Okay.
It's a means to take care of that tribalism, extreme tribalism. So if you alter it, you will create a lot of agitation once again that will not help our political system. The young louds in the north who believes that tomorrow there will also be president and the rest of it, I don't think they will support the Atiku political ambition, because if Atiku wins, it will also alter their own political interest. If power returns to the north, as the agitation will be going, Atiku may be forced to do one thing, which I know he will not. He will want to seize power, just like Ambassador who was seeking tenure elongation the other time. He will want to seize power. And seizing power, it will incite the military. Seizing power will incite the militants. Seizing power will incite politicians. Politicians, in fact, churches and mosques, everybody will be talking about politics. And there will be tension in the society. It will expose our democracy to some level of danger. So the young politicians in the north won't be comfortable because they want to do 8 years. They even want Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be re-elected because it will help the northern political agenda. If he comes, there is no way Bola Ahmed Tinubu will seek a third term.
Right.
He will only have 8 years. He will go.
So
he will pack a bag of baggages and leave.
It must go back to them in 2031.
So in 2031, the North will now have opportunity to strategize and bring their own, which also guarantee them another 80 years in power. So it's all about political calculation. So when some people are jumping here, clearly the North, I am always telling them, politics is far beyond what you are saying or what you are just perceiving. There are various interests, and these interests will always become groups and trying to execute their own interest. at the expense of the interest you think it is. Atiku is fighting, so the young politicians are there. They will never want Atiku to come. Even they will not even want a new person, likes of Obi or whatever, to take over. Because if he takes over, there is this tendency in Nigeria. After Jonathan told you that he will do one thing, after he completes year tenure, another will step aside, they should support him. Jonathan agreed to such an agreement that they sat after discussion, everything. Jonathan came by 2015, I want to contest. And they said, but you agree to, you say, present the document where I signed. Present the document. Gentleman agreement. So, but you agree it was gentleman. I say, present, as long as I didn't sign, I will contest. That is to tell you, a Jonathan that we know, that is a quiet man. A Jonathan that we know that he was not political, that desperate as we claim to be, we do that. Is he a Peter Obi that will not seize power? Is there an Atiku that will say, I will do only one thing? You put honey in my mouth, want to remove it? It would never happen. You give me banana, I want to remove it. So even they know we prefer Bola Ahmed Tinubu to continue after 4 years, power will return to them than Atiku or Peter Obi and the rest of it.
It's sure. It's a sure 4-term ticket. It's a sure 4-year ticket. As against others that will have the room to run for.
That we seize power. Tenure elongation will come.
I understand your perspective. Thank you so much, Emmy, for coming. It's a pleasure having you.